Hi friends. So people tell me all the time that they like my blog because they feel like I'm real and I'm not like someone fake on the internet. And this is about as real as it gets. I am coming to you live from my bathroom because my husband is working in his office and my cleaning lady is downstairs and she's vacuuming. It's very, very loud. So this is about as real as it's gonna get here. So I am sitting in my bathroom. I've got some coffee, but there's a hair in here because I just straightened my hair and this was sitting here and I saw a hair floating. So as I'm talking to you, there is a very real chance that my husband might walk in to use the bathroom. My cleaning lady might walk in to clean, and I might start choking on a hair. So that's about as real as it gets. But anyway, I'm coming to you today. Oh, and also I'm going to put a disclaimer. It's like freezing outside. So it's May 9th in Chicago. It's freezing. And so I'm hoping to get this blog post up soon. But when I put it up, there's a very real chance it's going to be like 90 degrees. And you're going to be like, why are you wearing this? It's cold here. Okay. And also it's pouring rain outside. So the book, which I probably should be holding in this review, is in my backseat of my car. It has to go back to the library. And I don't want to get my hair all frizzy in the rain. So that's now that there's a minute and a half of disclaimers, I'm going to start this video. This is a review of Ready or Not by Cara. Her last name is Bastone. Is it Bastone? Bastone. I'm going to say Bastone, but I could be very wrong. So, but it's called Ready or Not. And I thought that it would be fun. I used to do these all the time, like in the beginning days of my blog, where I would kind of just talk about how I felt about a book. But I haven't done it in a while. And I thought this would be a good one because I have a lot of thoughts on this book. So, I am going to do a spoiler-free review. So if you haven't read this book yet, this is great. You can listen to me talk about it. I will not give a thing away. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a very, very, very clear warning of when I think you should stop watching if you are planning on reading the book. And then I'm going to talk about some spoilers with those of you who have read the book or who just don't care and want to hear the spoilers anyway. So, okay, so spoiler free. Let's start off with spoiler free. Number one, the book cover is stunning. Oh, I don't have it because of the rain, But if I did, I'll put a picture of it on this blog post so you can see what it looks like. But it's a gorgeous cover. The colors, the artwork, the picture itself. It's a beautiful cover. 10 out of 10 for the cover art. And I do think that cover art is quite important. I know that they say you should never judge a book by its cover, but people judge books by their cover all the time. And this book has a beautiful cover. Look at that. My signature. Everything I drink looks like this. Okay. So the book itself, I really enjoyed it. It was so good. It was hilarious. I found myself smiling. I found myself tearing up at parts because it was very heartwarming. It's a really good book. There are things about it I didn't love. But I don't want to get into those because they are spoilers. So I'm not going to. But my overall thoughts on this book are that it was a great book. If you've ever been pregnant, it's a fun read because she talks about every part of pregnancy and all the like things that go along. Lipstick on my teeth. This is as professional as a professional video can be. So as far as being, yes, if you've ever been pregnant, it's a fun read because it just talks about there are some very real pregnancy symptoms and she talks about all of them. So that was fun. And then I did read in the back of the book that she actually wrote this book when she was pregnant. So, which you can tell because she nailed it when she talked about just like so many different parts of pregnancy. So that was fun to read. I loved the characters. I thought they were just adorable. Overall, I just really enjoyed this book. It's a fast read. It took me a significantly longer time to read. This is the kind of book that you can read in like 2 days. This is a great book if you're going on vacation, like a good beach read book. It's very light. It took me weeks to read this book. And I think the only reason, I know the reason, it's a very slow burn. And if you like books that are a slow burn, and that's not giving anything away, because I'm not telling you anything more than that, but it is a very slow burn. So if you are someone who is into that build-up, then you will enjoy this. I kind of wanted it to be like, let's go, but it didn't. So that's why it took me so long to get through it. It was just that. The other part of this book I did not enjoy, but it's very important to be included in this book. There's a lot of talking about feelings and thoughts and inner workings of minds. And I don't like character-driven stories. I like plot-driven stories. I like when things are happening as opposed to revelations and conclusions and all of that. If you are a regular reader of my blog, you know that I love reality TV. I can tell you when I don't love reality TV is when anybody goes to therapy and we have to sit in on the therapy and hear about how they feel and how they are thinking. I hate that. I don't think, and I'm not saying that I don't believe in therapy. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying listening to other people in therapy is the absolute most boring, unless you are a social worker or somebody who is, okay, maybe you enjoy it. I don't. There are certain reality shows where they, I love 90 Day Fiancé more than life itself, but I will not watch 90 Day Fiancé The Last Resort, because that is the couples who are on like the last leg of their marriage, and they have to go they go away, they get whisked off to some like tropical island or tropical location, and they have to meet with therapists and talk about their relationship. So no, that's not for me. And this book is a lot of talking about feelings and talking about thoughts and talking about their emotions and how they feel about everything. And that is just not something that I enjoy. So this is why it took me so long to get through this book. It was very slow burn romance and lots of feelings. Now, without getting into any spoilers, I will say that the depth of this story is a deep story, therefore needed a lot of reflection and a lot of revelation and a lot of just kind of thinking through different thoughts and feelings and working through all of that. So I get why that was included. It absolutely had to be for this story to flow. She couldn't have written this story without those parts, but those were the parts that I didn't enjoy, if that makes sense. I really like when books like move and they're fast and there's all kinds of things happening. And this one was a lot of discussion about thoughts and feelings, and that's just not. Okay. So, but yes, overall, I would recommend this book. I think this is just a delightful read. I saw another reviewer who talked about it on Instagram, and she said this is a gem of a book, and I totally agree. It's a gem of a book. It's adorable. It is, you will smile. Like, it was a very light-hearted book for a very heavy topic, if that makes sense. But it was great. I loved it. I would highly recommend it. But then there were some parts of it that I was not a fan of, which I'm going to get into now, and I'm going to give some spoilers. So if you are planning on reading this book, I think you should just click right on out of this video. Don't watch the rest. Come back and watch it after you've read the book. But for now, unless you want the spoilers, or unless you want, unless you're not planning on reading this book, or maybe you are and you just want to hear what I have to say, then please stick with me. But if you are planning on reading this book and you don't want to know what's going to happen, this is my official goodbye. Goodbye. Okay. Those of you who are still here. By the time these two finally had sex, it felt like 100 years had passed. They were so freaking close so many times. There were times they were laying in bed with their foreheads touching each other and looking into each other's eyes. Did they kiss? No. No. That's how slow burn of a slow burn this one was. Oh my God. Like, they were like laying in bed. His hand is up her shirt, feeling the baby bump. Did he go a little further, touch her booby? No, he did not. So I feel like the burn of this book, I was like, come on already, let's get to it. And it just took so long that that was the slowest burn I've ever read. And then when they finally had the sex, it was hot. It was a hot sex scene. However, I found there to be parts of it that were not as hot as I would have liked for them to be. And I'm not going to get into the details of the position that they were in. And I get it. Her stomach was massive and she was very, very pregnant. So they really didn't have many options. But the position that they were in is not the hot position. Love-making, sweet, tender, none of that. The position they were in was not. And also her descriptions of her own vagina weren't sexy or hot. And again, she's pregnant. She's pregnant. There's a reason. I get that. But when you are leading up to a hot sex scene and you're leading up with the descriptions that she gave that they were not good, friends. Not good. And then the position they were in, not good. Not sexy or hot. So I felt like the whole build-up of the book led to that sex scene, and it was could have been better. Now, I'm also going to say right now that the ending of this book, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I think that, sorry, I just got a text from my daughter. I think that the ending of this book, I wanted her to have this baby like 100 pages before she did. I kept waiting the whole book, like, she's gonna have the baby, she's gonna have the baby, and how's that gonna be? They didn't even really talk about her giving birth. They didn't talk about the hospital. I'm trying to even think, did they even have a scene of her giving birth? I don't even remember it if they did. It was pretty forgettable. And I felt like that was what the book should have been leading up to. And instead it was just like another part of the book. And I get it. The overall message of this book is like, her relationship with Shep and her relationship with Ethan. Sorry, I finished this book like 2 weeks ago or whatever. And I understand that, but I also feel like the birth, it should have been that. I also wanted her to name the baby Louise, but that's just me after the nurse, but that's just what I thought she would do. She did not. And on top of all of it, I felt like it was just a really unrealistic ending with like the three of, like the author alludes to that the three of them are going to, in whatever respective, whatever they can contribute, they're going to raise this baby kind of together. And I appreciate that she led up to that, they got the apartment right by the bar so that it would be easy for Ethan to come over. But I felt like it was just a little too wrapped up in like a neat little box, like a bow. And it was just like a little bit too wrapped up for me. I kind of think it would be a little bit messier than that. I felt like Ethan was very, I didn't like that he would come and go based on his girlfriend. I understand that he was like in love with the girl and he was like listening to her, but I felt like him kind of coming in and out and in and out was annoying, and it didn't make me feel good for him being a father. Now, Shep, I loved the whole book. I actually enjoyed it in the beginning when they talked about how awkward he was. They kind of let go of that. As the book went on, they made him less awkward and more hot. And I kind of really wanted them to stick with him being just like super awkward because I found him endearing, very endearing, and adorable. And let's see what else. The relationship that she had with her best friend was complicated and beautiful. I also wanted her to name the baby Corinne after the mom. After that, that's what I wanted the baby's name to either be Louise or Corinne. And now looking back, I can't even remember what they named the baby. Did she name the baby those things? I don't think she did. I wanted her to. After like Willa and Shep's mom who had passed away. So, I found the names in this book to be very, all of them except Ethan were very, like the boss had, like some of them are culturally different names, which then just make them, different for me to hear. But then other ones like Shep and Willa, I know her husband is, he has, a cultural name. And I know that at work she had, the coworker, Micah was his name. He had the peanut allergy. She was like afraid she was going to kill him if she ate a peanut butter sandwich. So yeah, it was a good book, but I definitely had things about it that I didn't love. So I hope you enjoyed this review. I think I'm leaving out a whole bunch more, but I think that's the gist of it. So read the book. If you haven't read the book, then you don't need to because I just gave you all the spoilers. But if you have read this book, I would love to know what you thought. Hope you're having a great day. And I hope the weather is a lot nicer than where you are because here it is cold and rainy. Bye.